Hi students, when someone asks you what a story or a novel or a movie or a play, etc. is about, you have two basic options. One is to talk about the idea or the issues that the story raises. Say something like Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice is about the dangers of having strong prejudices and feeling too prideful. You could say that Bernard Malamud's The Jewbird is about conflict between generations. That's a thematic answer to the question what the story is about. You are saying what you think the theme of the story is. A much more common path is to say what happened in the story. The Jewbird by Malamud is about a talking black bird who is Jewish. He moves in with the Cohen family. Despite the benefits the bird brings to the family, the father hates him, makes his life miserable, and spoiler alert, eventually leads to his death. This kind of answer is plot oriented. Plot oriented. It answers the question what happens in the story? One fairly straightforward description of what the word plot means in the discussion of fiction is to say that it is the answer to the question what happens in the story? What are the events? Or plot is the events of the story, novel, film, etc. Talking about the plot does not inform us about how the story is told, but only about what happens in it. For now, I want to emphasize a few things about describing plots, about retelling the events of a story. We rarely retell all the events of a story, right? If I ask you to tell me what happened in a specific movie or story or novel, you won't tell me everything that happened. Rather, depending on how much space or time we have, we select the events that seem most important to us. In a way, you could say that the plot is not the events of the story, but the main events. Not everything that happens, but the most important things that happen. Of course, the importance of certain events depend on your understanding of the text, on your interpretation. Some events might seem crucial to one reader, but not all that important to others. You might not notice certain events in the first time you read a story, but notice them the second time. In The Jewbird, the fact that the bird moves into the Cohen's apartment is clearly crucial for retelling the story. You can't really retell the story without mentioning it. You won't have a story. But is the fact that Mr. Cohen's mother dies crucial? Would you include it in the retelling? Maybe. It depends on how you understand the story. Is it the story about mourning his mother, Cohen's mother, or not? So the second point. When you retell the plot, we use the present tense, not the past. This is a convention that you can just listen to, but it also makes sense. The story didn't happen in the past, it's always happening again and again. It's always in the book, it's always in the PDF file that you have. It's not something that happened once upon a time. It is something that happens again and again every time someone reads the story. So even though stories are usually told to us in the text in the past tense, when we retell the story, we move to the present tense because we're describing a story that always exists. If you don't accept this more philosophical explanation, just accept that this is the convention when retelling plots. Finally, unless we have some very good reason to do otherwise, we usually retell a plot chronologically. That is to say, in the order the events happened in the world of the story. This is not everything you can say about plot, but I will leave the rest to other videos. Thank you for listening.